It looks to be the beginning of a lovely day, Holmes. There's nothing like beginning the week with a sunny Monday, with nothing more pressing to do than to see what came in the post. Would you care to take a ride up the Thames today?
I think not, Watson.
Listen, Holmes, your mood has been getting progressively worse for the past 2 weeks. I know you, and I am certain that something is bothering you. It wouldn't be bad news from Switzerland, would it?
We would already be on a boat heading towards the continent were that the case, my dear Watson.
Very well, then, what is it? Let me guess. For the past 2 weeks, the papers have talked of nothing other than this French thief, Arsène Lupin. He's been making all of the police officers on the continent look like complete idiots. You're taking an obvious pleasure out of reading these articles.
My dear Watson.
I've put my finger on it, haven't I? I know you well. Something tells me that you will not entertain talk of this Lupin for some time. Do you recall his latest feat? Using an alias, he seduced a young Italian princess in order to rob her of a priceless set of diamond jewellery that once belonged to the Medici. These jewels were to be part of the lady's dowry on the occasion of her marriage to the son of a wealthy, influential Sicilian. Finally, our friend, having committed his crime, left word for the local press explaining that there was no other way for the charming lass to escape a marriage of convenience with, I quote, an uncultivated and uncouth boor without the least refinement. Since then, the lady has been confined to a convent, and rumour has it that the two outraged fathers have jointly offered a sum of countless millions of liras for the head, the rest of the body being optional, of the man who is responsible for their dishonour. Are you acquainted with the reputation of the Italian criminal milieu? Why, another letter from the zoo about those missing birds, as if we were going to be running around the whole of London chasing chickens. As I was saying, are you acquainted with the reputation of the Italian criminal milieu? This Arsène Lupin must be in hiding somewhere, surrounded by bottles of champagne and stolen treasures. How foolhardy and arrogant. Oh, these French. However, he didn't pursue this foolishness to the point of risking stepping onto British soil.
Has the cat got your tongue, Watson? What? Whatever is the matter with you, Watson? Pray tell.
This letter on the table. Holmes, read it.
Hello and welcome. It seems like Holmes's dialogue was clipping slightly. So we can play this in first person again, and we can play it in third person. I think I'll stick to first person for the most of it. We'll get to you in a second, Watson. I don't think there is a whole lot to interact with. Well, as Holmes.
No, I must know why Watson is in such a state.
Oh, okay. As usual, I'll keep these on screen for several seconds. Feel free to pause.
Holmes, this is truly unbelievable. Surely this cannot be taken seriously.
It's possible, Watson, that this letter is nothing but a prank. However, a small chance exists that both the challenge and the threat are real.
What will you do?
First, I'm going to enjoy the breakfast Mrs. Hudson has prepared. If you would be so good, Watson, as to clarify some of the riddles in the letter. Firstly, if Arsène Lupin is actually the author, as he states, why does he sign with another name? When it comes to the poem, even if an answer seems straightforward, we must be quite certain. What would the target of tonight's theft be if this letter turns out to be accurate? We have 1 day to find the solution and to take preventative measures. You could go see Barnes, the bookstore in Glentworth Street. Surely they'll have something that will be informative.
Our old friend Barnes. We will see him momentarily. Is that the map of Scotland?
It's a coal bucket in which Holmes stores his cigars. What a strange idea. This is how Holmes organises his correspondence that is awaiting responses. If only his clients saw that. My eccentric companion keeps his shag tobacco in the toe of this Persian slipper.
I am not ready yet, Watson.
It was in this statue that we found the famous Black Pearl of the Borgias. Treaty on Cornish, the Celtic language of the Cornish people. And here, medieval pottery. Holmes has an interesting taste in reading. Holmes's Table for Experiments, a motley collection. Ooh, The Adventure of the Dancing Men, I recall.
It's nice that they have references to the original stories in this game as well.
Holmes's violin. What? This accursed statue is still here? I've asked Mrs. Hudson to remove it for us.
Hello, old friend. I think that's everything. Okay, let's go. I believe it's this way.
No, I have nothing to ask him.
It's nice that they've kept the game worlds the same as the last one as well, as the Awakened. Hi there.
Sir?
Madame? Here we go.
Poor Barnes should hire a cleaning lady. Oh, what a mess.
Gnithruth, Cudwilm, Lizrit, Sublilha.
Barnes, you're not meant to be doing that.
Good day, Barnes.
Hello, Dr. Watson. How are you? I didn't hear you enter.
Are you busy? Am I disturbing you?
Not at all. I was researching, but if you came to see me, it must be that you're looking for something specific. Perhaps I can help you?
Have they used a different model for Barnes? He looks different.
A very strange affair, bewildering even, has brought me to see you. An affair involving a Spanish cape and a one-eyed, one-armed man.
Most certainly. You will find the works dealing with naval history on one of the shelves somewhere.
Thank you. I'll go look.
Unless this book has taken a toll on him somehow. So, why does this letter have a separate name at the bottom? The answer is, it is an anagram of Horatio Nelson.
Ah, here's my book, The Great English Sailors. As it happens, I found this book and...
Excuse me, my dear Dr. Watson, but I am in need of tranquility.
Well, farewell, Barnes.
Firstly, Barnes, what the hell? And secondly, why have you kept the shop open if you're not going to do your job? Thankfully, they've kept the map system from the Awakens. Okay, what were you doing to get ready? You look exactly the same.
Now tell me, Watson, what progress have you made? Have you found the meaning of the mysterious signature?
It's an anagram, Holmes. The letters in Arsino Lotino can be used to spell out Horatio Nelson.
That's a welcome confirmation. No doubt the target for the theft is somehow connected with the Battle of Trafalgar, won by Admiral Lord Nelson at the expense of the French. Nelson, who lost an eye and an arm in battle, has a statue high atop a column in Trafalgar Square. It says that the object of the theft is sitting at his master's feet. There's nothing to steal on this column. We have a map of London here somewhere. Let's see if we can find a site of interest near Trafalgar Square.
Ha! I found it at last. The map of London.
So, according to you, what is there to steal in Trafalgar Square? Show me on the map, Watson.
Oh, okay. I believe that Trafalgar Square is central London. Here. The National Gallery.
The only location visible is the National Gallery of Painting, which faces the column.
Why not? Our man wants to steal a painting, but which one? Watson, shall we head out? Let's take a tour of the National Gallery. While you find us a hansom, I'll send a message to Lestrade to have him join us.
Well, the newspaper boy has gone. Oh, hello. That was very convenient. I remember that there was a Hanson in the Awakened. I was going to say the first game, but that was Mystery of the Mummy.
Ah, Lamb, good timing. Can you give myself and my friend Sherlock a lift?
With pleasure, Dr. Watson. The mistress, Miss Bromsby, gave me the day off. I'll wait for you. Good afternoon, gentlemen, and welcome to the National Gallery of Painting. As it's such a lovely day outside, you're the only visitors at the moment, and likely will be for the whole day, as the minimum number of people for a guided tour is...
We're not here to visit the museum, young man. My name is Sherlock Holmes, and this is my friend and colleague, Dr. Watson.
Sherlock Holmes, the famous detective?
Indeed, I have reason to believe that a theft is being planned that will take place here, perhaps as early as today.
A robbery?
I'm not certain, but there is a good reason to believe that is the case. We have contacted Inspector Lestrade at Scotland Yard, and he should be joining us momentarily. Meanwhile, rest assured that we are here in an official capacity. In the meantime, you can certainly help us. One of the paintings will play a part in the matter, but I don't yet know exactly which one. I do, however, have a few clues that should tell something to a specialist like yourself.
Ah, yes, of course. As it happens, I've only been working here for 3 days. Actually, I'm an apprentice, and my duties here are essentially administrative.
Pray tell, would I be correct in deducing that the elder of the two men that we can see up there is the director of the museum?
Yes, that is Sir Pointer. He could certainly assist you better than I, but at the moment he's terribly occupied and will be for some time.
But the location that you are proposing is unworthy of my work. All of my pieces are hymns to color and light. It's the very stars, the sun that you want to extinguish.
Please understand, dear sir, the entrance hall is reserved for temporary exhibitions. We are able to add more lighting.
In that case, you would have to provide lanterns across the whole length of the ceiling, and to use the most refined oil possible. Definitely not gas. And mirrors to reflect the light, along with some canvases in basic colors to bring out the contrasts.
We will do all that we possibly can.
Nevertheless, I insist that a number of my works must be on the main floor next to the large pieces.
But our rooms are already full, and, as you know, each has its specific subject. Too much modernism?
How can there be too much modernism? Modernism doesn't exist. Only art exists. Art is timeless. Art is cosmic.
Well, sir, perhaps we should continue this conversation in my office.
Then you must certainly have a ledger of the works that are shown in the museum, with a description of each painting.
Yes, Sir Pointer entrusted it to my care this morning so I could familiarize myself with the collection, but I lost it. I know I make a rather feeble archivist, but while I was doing a tour of the museum, the painting that Mr. Pointer is now dealing with arrived, along with cases full of canvases that he had to quickly inventory.
The case of the missing ledger. What do you make of it, Watson? Listen, Mr.
Palinor, sir.
Palinor, my friend and I will make our way through the museum in order to find the ledger. If you lost it while touring the museum and it wasn't back on the desk, then it must be in one of the galleries. Stay here and we will return to see you when we have found it, and not a word of it to the director.
Certainly, sir. With many thanks. I will continue to do my inventory and await you.
Tell me, young man, would you happen to have a blueprint of the building in order to facilitate the task at hand?
Ah, yes. Where did I put it? Oh, yes, here it is.
Farewell, Palinor.
I was hoping that we could at least enter the building before we triggered Mr. Palinor here. Anyway, it is what it is. It seems like we're going to spend the rest of this video looking at some lovely art. Okay, so we need to make our way to the English gallery.
I said I didn't want to be disturbed.
The Spanish Painters Gallery. La Tela Real by the great Spanish master Diego Velázquez, 1599 to 1660, painted from the golden century of Spain. It depicts a royal boar hunt. The Vendramin family, venerating a relic of the True Cross by Titian, a Venetian paper, died in 1576, leader of the 16th century Venetian school of the Cinquecento. Jacob with a Flock of Laban by Giuseppe de Ribera, also called Lo Spagnoletto, or the Little Spaniard because of his height. Christ healing the paralytic at the pool of Bethesda by Murillo, one of the most important figures in Baroque painting in Spain during the 18th century. Christ driving the traders from the temple, canvassed by the Spanish master El Greco. A Peasant Boy Leaning on a Sill by Bartolomé Esteban Murillo, 1617 to 1682. The Toilet of Venus by Diego Velázquez, who was considered, along with Francisco Goya and El Greco, as one of the greatest artists in all of Spanish history. The Adoration of the Name of Jesus, El Greco, 1541 to 1614, Spanish painter from Crete, belonging to the Mannerist school. A lovely painting by Murillo, impressive. The Lamentation of the Dead Christ by Giuseppe de Ribera, a Tenebrist painter. This canvas by Tiziano Vecellio, better known as Titian, is an allegory of prudence. It reads, "From the past, the man of the present acts prudently so as not to imperil the future." Wise advice. An Apostle, Josep de Ribera, 1591-1652. French Painters Gallery.
There, it seems that we've found the famous ledger. It's written in shorthand and there are hundreds of entries. Let's bring it to the archivist.
I will do. I'm going to spend some time looking at these paintings, and we will continue on with the plot in the next video. But if you want to see some lovely paintings and get some more information about them, a couple of these are plots. Not involved in the plot, but they do shed a bit more light. Excuse me, Watson. What are you doing?
Horace Vernet, my ancestor. Magnificent, this landscape at sunset.
I can't remember which one it is. I think it is this one.
Horace Vernet, the Battle of the Hanau, which took place in 1813, the beginning of the end for Napoleon despite this victory. Watson, come quickly.
What is it, Holmes? What have you found?
A painting by my great-uncle, Horace Vernet. I had forgotten that his work could be found here. It is certainly this ancestor to whom Lupin made reference in his letter. Such talent, don't you think?
Who? Lupin?
No, Vernet. Albeit Lupin also, but in a different field.
There we go. So I'm going to spend the rest of the video looking at these paintings, and we will continue on with the plot in the next video.
The Battle of Genappe by Horace Vernet, one of the victories of the French Revolution. A beautiful landscape by Boucher, Françoise, a master of colour in the Age of Enlightenment. The Billet doux by Françoise Boucher. Monsieur de Norvin's portrait by Jean-Auguste Dominique Ingres, 1780 to 1876. A portrait, Madame Moitessier, by Ingres, who was also a violinist on the side, like myself. The Emperor Napoleon I, or Bonaparte as we English prefer, painted by Horace Vernet. Perfect Harmony by Jean-Antoine Watteau. The Scale of Love by Jean-Antoine Watteau. Born in 1684, died in 1721, French painter, one of the first in the Rococo style, inspired by the Commedia dell'arte, who loved to depict theatre and festivities in his paintings. Closed. A canvas by Nicolas Poussin that tells of the discovery of Moses. Very nice. The Adoration of the Golden Calf by Nicolas Poussin, a classical French painter from the 17th century who spent most of his productive career not in Paris, but in Rome, on the fringes of the prominent schools of the era. Jacques Cazot, portrait by Jean-Baptiste Perronneau, born around 1715, died 1783. English Painters' Hall. Thomas Gainsborough, one of the most famous English portrait and landscape painters. A magnificent landscape by Gainsborough. Margate from the Sea by William Turner. Here we have a precursor to Impressionism. A canvas by William Turner, the painter of light. A canvas by William Turner, the painter of light. The Painter's Daughters Chasing a Butterfly by Thomas Gainsborough, an unfinished painting but touching nevertheless. Sun Rising Through Vapour by William Turner. 40 years before Monet, Turner creates a new painting that dissolves forms in a quivering of atmosphere and light. The Evening Star by William Turner, the graceful transitional moment between day and night. Mr. and Mrs. Andrews by Gainsborough, an unfinished painting. An unrivaled landscape artist, he was obliged to do portraits in order to earn a living. Dr. Ralph Schomburg by Thomas Gainsborough, 1727 to 1788. A canvas by Sir Reynolds, Colonel Tarleton, hero of the British forces during the American War of Independence. Queen Charlotte, painted by Sir Thomas Lawrence, an 18th century painter. Lady Coburn and Her Three Eldest Sons by Sir Reynolds. Self-Portrait by William Turner, born in 1775, extraordinary English painter. Lord Heathfield of Gibraltar by Sir Joshua Reynolds, 1723 to 1792, one of the greatest portrait artists of his time. Dutch Gallery. A young woman seated at a virginal, painted by Vermeer, Dutch painter of the 17th century. A canvas by Gerard ter Borch, Dutch subject and portrait painter, influenced by Velázquez. View of the Westerkerk, Amsterdam, painted by Jan van der Heyden, probably in 1660. A terrible naval battle scene by Ludolf Bashuizen. Willem van de Velde, a Dutch painter who dedicated his talent to the sea. A work by Jan Steen, painter of the Dutch school, a moralist. A winter scene with skaters near a castle by Averkamp, 1585 to 1634, one of the greatest painters from the Dutch school of the 17th century. He specialized in winter scenes. The painting originally extended into a square shape. The countryside, painted by Salomon van Rushdael. Born in the first few years of the 17th century, died 1670. It makes you want to rest for a moment. Jacob van Ruysdael, 1628 or 9 to 1682, one of the major landscape artists of Dutch golden age of the 17th century. A painting by Rembrandt, the sum of his works inspired Baudelaire to write Rembrandt's Sad Hospital Full of Murmurs. Self-portrait at the age of 63 by Rembrandt, the year of his death. The painter affirmed, "I do not paint the man, I paint the passage." An architectural fantasy painted by van der Heyden. A river scene with a Dutch yacht by Van der Capelle. A coast scene, Jan van der Capelle, Amsterdam 1626 to 1679. The Swearing of the Oath of Ratification, painted by Gerard ter Borch, born in Zwolle in December of 1608 and died the 8th of December 1681. A beach scene with fishermen by Ludolf Bashuizen, 1630 or 31 to 1708. The Flemish artists are found here. A work by David Teniers, the Younger. A work by David Teniers, the Younger. Rubens, The Judgment of Paris. What a dilemma. Paris had to choose between one of the three divinities, Venus, Juno, or Minerva, and anger the other two in the process.
There was nothing to it but choose all three.
Peace and War. Rubens, the Old Master, painting probably executed in 1629 or 30, illustrating the hopes for peace between England and Spain, the painter's mission at the time. Rubens was, in effect, also a diplomat. Peasants at Archery. David Teniers the Younger, 1610 to 1690. Baroque, I would say. The Balby Children by Van Dyck, 1599 to 1641. Lady Elizabeth Thimbleby and Viscountess Andover by Van Dyck. Van Dyck in person. This artist had a huge influence on English portraitists. He is considered to be the creator of the English school of painting. A Sunset by Rubens, one of the greatest Baroque painters of the 17th century and in the history of painting in general. Hearing, canvas by Gonzales Cox. He earned his nickname Little Van Dyck through the elegance of his paintings. Look, a white horse standing by a sleeping man by Peter Verbeek, possibly derived from a 1652 print by Paulus Potter. Sight, portrait of Robert van der Hoek by Gonzales Cox between 1614 and 1618, died in 1684. A family group by Gonzales Cox. Portrait of a boy holding a rose, around 1660 and attributed to François de Chastel, a Flemish painter. Canvas painted around 1620, unknown artist from the Flemish school. Portrait of a man, canvas loaned to the museum, work of an unknown artist dating between 1645 and 1655. The Gallery of Italian Works. Painting by Lorenzo Lotto, born around 1480, died in 1556 or 7, has a very idiosyncratic style. St. Catherine of Alexandria by Raphael, painted around 1507, one of the greatest Italian painters and architects of the High Renaissance. Venice, La Serenissima, this one from 1740 by Canaletto. The Supper at Emmaus, where the resurrected Jesus appears to his disciples, painted by Caravaggio, 1571 to 1610. He was a master of chiaroscuro, and the Caravaggionism movement was named after him. The Assassination of St. Peter Martyr, painted around 1507 by Giovanni Bellini, a forerunner of the Venetian school. St. Catherine of Alexandria, by Antonio de Solario in 1514, originally part of a triptych. This painting depicts the gods Venus and Mars by Botticelli. This painting was exhibited for the first time in 1874 in the National Gallery. The Virgin of the Rocks, famous canvas painted between 1491 and 1508 by Leonardo da Vinci. Multidisciplinary man, artist, scientist, inventor, and humanist philosopher. He transformed art into the complex style of the High Renaissance. His scientific and artistic method proceeded from a preliminary accumulation of detailed observations, of knowledge dispersed here and there, all with perfection as the objective.
You speak of yourself, Holmes?
Portrait of a young man in red by Domenico Ghirlandaio. This painting was executed between 1480 and 90 and is on loan. A study by Tiepolo. The Trojans bring the Greek horse into their city, causing their own ruin. Thus it's best to beware of certain gifts. Canvas by Orazio Gentileschi, 1563 to 1639, Baroque painter influenced by Caravaggio. His daughter Artemisia became a painter in her own right. A painting by Veronese, the family of Darius before Alexander. The Origin of the Milky Way, painted around 1575 and bought in 1890 by the National Gallery, executed by Jacopo Robusti, known as Tintoretto, which comes from tintore, as his father was a dyer. At least his business was merely dyeing and not death. St. Catherine of Alexandria, painted by Carlo Crivelli, bought as part of the Prince Anatole Demidov collection in 1868. Must you see it to believe? The Incredulity of St. Thomas, master of the work, Battista Giovanni Cima, born around 1459. Adoration of the Kings by Botticelli, bought by the National Gallery in 1878. German Gallery. There's no inscription here. I'll speak to the director, perhaps. Hans Holbein the Younger died of the plague in London in 1543. His works are on loan to the museum. The painter's father, Albrecht Dürer. He's probably seen happier days. A Grenache. Grenache's style has such ambience. He depicted well the total lack of fantasy. Portrait of a Woman by Lucas Grenache the Elder, 1472 to 1553. Official painter of the Saxony court. Charity by Lucan Grenache the Elder, canvas loaned to the museum. St. Catherine of Alexandria, in good company, painted around 1450 by Stefan Lochner, a hand shutter of an altarpiece presented in 1863 by Queen Victoria at the Prince Consort's wish. St. Paul on Malta by Adam Elsheimer, 1578 to 1610. The Ambassadors, 1533 by Hans Holbein the Younger. In the foreground we can see a distorted skull, a symbol of mortality. The Virgin and Child by Albrecht Dürer, 1471 to 1528. Painter, mathematician, and foremost an engraver, a virtuoso of the Buren. Judith in the Tent of Holofernes by Johann Liss, 1595 to 1631. What will she do with that head? Tobias and the Archangel Raphael by Adam Elsheimer, German painter. The Archangel should ask what kind of bait he used. This canvas was acquired in 1894 by the National Gallery. It was based on the composition he had previously done. A work that just exudes the joy of living by Lucas Grenache the Elder. Canvas by Adam Elsheimer, the most famous German painter at the beginning of the 17th century.